Okay, on this episode of I don't know what I'm doing in my garage making stuff out of wood, I'm going to build a balance beam for my kid. It's a balance beam, so I'm just going to use some 3/4 inch birch plywood. We're going to rip that down to about 3.5 inches, I'm guessing, almost 4 inches. Then I'm going to take that over to the chop saw. I'm going to cut out a bunch of different squares. Those are going to get used for the legs. So after I cut those down to size, I'm going to take it back to the table saw to cut those to final dimensions. And then I'm going to insert the dado stack, and then we'll hollow out the inside, fit glue and screw, and then we'll put it together. So should be a fun process. We'll see if it works out. Here goes nothing. Thinking about cutting the dados, I thought about installing a dado stack, and I decided that that would be too easy. So let's cause more work, which in turn will be a longer project. So what I have in the box here is the woodpecker's rip flip fence. So I have to install that. Then I'm gonna see how it works, and hopefully it works fine. And then I'll just knock out all the cuts and everything will be perfect. If it's not perfect, then I messed up. So we'll see what happens. The rip flip fence is installed and everything's good to go. I did a bunch of test cuts to work out the dados because it was my first time doing it and I did it wrong half a dozen times. But eventually I got one that's nice, perfect snug fit, and that's what we're looking for. So I have my blocks. I'm gonna cut these down with the dado stack. I was gonna get it by without it, but I don't want to make like 30 passes with an 8-inch blade. It wouldn't really be 30, it'd be, you know, not that many, half a dozen or so. But I like this, so we're gonna do this. And then the bases will pretty much be done. Then we'll move on from there. All right, so our dados are cut. Everything's a nice, snug, tight fit. It doesn't fall out. That's what we're looking for. We're going to end up gluing these together, but before we do that, we're gonna have to actually dado out this part again. But what I didn't do was I didn't cut this the correct size the first time. So it's basically going to be held like this and the board's going to go on top. Well, the problem is there's nowhere for the board to sit into. I actually want the board to sit about 3/4 of an inch into this piece right here. So instead of having this being perfectly flush, because basically these are about the same size, I'm going to rip this down about 1/2 inch. That way when it sits inside here, I have 1/4 inch on either side of play. So that's what we're going to do next, is rip the main beam down to actual size. Okay, so we have that good to go. I ripped this board down. It's about 3.5 inches end to end, and the resting block it's going to sit on is about 4 inches. So that means, simple math, I have about 1/4 inch on each side. So now I have to notch out 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out the cutting blade. I'm going to put back in the dado stack. I'm basically going to do a bunch of cuts to hollow out that part right there. That way it sits in nice and tight. It's not going to be as tight as this because I actually want it to sit in with relative ease. I don't want to have to push it in and everything else because, again, the kid's walking on it. If he sets it up, he's not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's too tight. He doesn't care. So it's going to be a little bit loose. It's not going to be so loose that it won't hold the board, but I have to swap out the dado stack for the regular blade for the dado stack. If you were good and you actually planned this out, you wouldn't have to do this. I didn't plan anything out. I kind of just make it up as I go. And because I'm not smart, I didn't have a plan. So I'm doing lots of blade swapping. If you do it, plan it, and then you won't have to fumble around with blades as much as I do. So yeah, be smart. Okay, so here we are. We're pretty much done. I mean, let's be honest, there's really not that much. So this is how this whole thing goes together. So we have, I don't know what you will call these. The braces. These will be the feet. So braces go in the feet like that. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, right? These are gonna get glued and screwed together. I'm lying, they're not gonna get screwed, they're just gonna get pin nailed. But yeah, it's super simple. So this just sits up like this. This piece goes right here. Then this piece goes, you know, in the middle somewhere like that. So there's a pad that he's gonna have. Obviously they're gonna be spread out. I'm not gonna spread out on the table because there's not enough room on the opposite ends. But yeah, then he just walks across it and balances on it. I think the height is okay. My wife's gonna come out in a little bit and then she's gonna tell me if it needs to be a little bit lower. So I may end up taking off a little bit of the height on the step. I think it's fine. It's about 4 inches. You know, he's about 36 inches tall, so I think it's a good step up for him. But I'll see what she says. Yeah, so really the only thing to do is round over pretty much all the edges. I'm going to round over the top of the base, but I'm not going to round over the bottom. I don't really want to round over those edges, but everything else is going to get round over. It's going to be pretty simple. Then yeah, that's pretty much it. Then we're going to, you know, just spray it and then it will be done. So easy project. It took me an evening to do, and you know, 30 minutes of that was installing the rip flip fence. So other than that, I mean, super easy, super simple project. Easy day. That's gonna wrap it up for this one. This was a super simple, super easy build. Put some just, you know, regular finish on it from a spray can, nothing too fancy because, well, my kids are gonna be walking on it. So I ended up making 4 of these. Most of them have 3, but I don't think the 4th one's gonna hurt. It just adds extra stability when he's walking on it. But yeah, super easy, just pops on and off, so it's easily storable. Super easy build, a lot of fun to make. Took, you know, a couple hours. He'll enjoy it. Hopefully he doesn't fall and, you know, crack his head on the edges. But they're rounded over, so even if he falls, it shouldn't hurt too bad. So yeah, this is a Montessori plank. I don't know what it's actually called. That's what I'm calling it. So yeah, good times. And all right, I'll catch you on the next one.